have, and they look very interesting.
What are some of the highlights of this flag set for you?
There are two main high points, I think. One is that they're starting with Terra and Celeste, who have their A, natural magic, and B, original commands. So, two of the best characters in the game, starting right off the bat. The other main one, and the one that's really going to determine how this seed goes, is that none of the shops have anything in them. So, they have to rely on treasure, their wits, and maybe the Colosseum to see them through.
The shops do have one thing in them, and that is dried meat. So somewhere in the world, there are a few shops that will be selling jerky, and that's about it.
And I imagine people won't even be looking for those until they find Gal.
Yep. So what we have right now, we have our racers going around and doing quite a bit of looting. The treasure chests are completely random. So they can find anything in them except for paladin shields. There are no free paladin shields.
Indeed. Also, no free Ultima, so they're not going to luck into that with their natural magic either.
Correct. Terra and Celis do have their natural magic levels. They just do not have the spells. The spells that they are going to learn are random, but they will learn them at the same level that they would normally learn a spell in the vanilla game.
Exactly. So they won't even be able to rely on, having a cure spell, for example, as one naturally would. So it will be interesting to see what they get and what they do with it. I imagine we'll be seeing a lot more looting than we normally do because they're going to be entirely reliant on chests.
Correct. I actually think one of the things that I would be most concerned about is the fact that I am not guaranteed to find Phoenix Downs or tents anywhere.
Yeah, or remedies for that final fight when you get trained, probably. Lots of bad things could be happening to our runners today. I did not write down whether the bosses are random or shuffled. Or do you know which one it is?
I believe they are shuffled.
Okay, so unlike Monday, we're probably going to see a few harder bosses than Ultros and 3 leaders.
Yep. So right now, all of our runners are running around the world, opening up as many treasure chests as they can find. I believe Locke just found a gem box, which could be a very powerful item this seed, depending on what spells Celis and Terra find.
Yep.
Other than that, I've seen like a pearl rod or two. I haven't seen all that much. And Jack is headed straight into the sealed cave and finds our first check. And let's see what he gets from this.
It is a Magicite of Odin.
Let's see. Odin actually, on its own, is a useful Esper because it can proc instant death on things that are vulnerable to it, like the long arm on tier 1 and I believe it's the girl in the middle, or no, it's tools on tier 2.
Yep, and if you want to do some grinding, the chances of finding an enemy, like a standard enemy that is immune to instant death, is pretty slim. We have seen Locke find a snow muffler and then Shadow. And much like Terra and Celeste having their natural abilities, so does every other character. So Locke now has access to throw. The only change to that is that Gal has jump instead of leap, which is a rather more useful ability. And a sniper in a chest as well. That's a very good weapon.
Yes, depending on what else they find, that sniper might be one of the better weapons they are able to equip. It has a special ability where I believe it's 33% of the time it does 300% damage to any enemies that are floating. And as it happens, most of the final boss is floating.
It's actually weird. Almost half of the enemies in the game are floating, whether or not they appear to be. And what it does is actually it procs the throw. So it's the same as throwing the sniper if you get that crit.
But you get to keep it.
Yes, exactly. You get to throw it again and again. It's like a boomerang, except if you throw the boomerang, that's just gone forever. It's not a very good one. And we are seeing Boo actually getting those hidden little treasures, or at least one of them, on the ground in the sealed gate. This is officially the second time I've seen this happen, and the first time was Monday. So that's a lot of dried meat being purchased by Locke, which is a sensible choice if it's the only healing option so far.
Ooh, and 51,000 for the Thief in Zen.
It is an Esper, though, so that's something he's got in his mind.
Hopefully he'll be able to find a better price in the World of Ruin for that.
Absolutely. I did see an air anchor getting picked up by Jack there. If they find Edgar, that is another useful way to insta-kill pieces of the final battle.
Absolutely. Maybe when Boo gets this his Odin, he'll actually give us a look at the spell list. Because depending on what spells are found, those could be useful.
That 16k chest has gotta hurt. Here's a whole bunch of money.
I mean, if it were me, well, I mean, I did roll this seed, so I'm imagining there's going to be lots of gold in chests here.
Yeah, just to, twist the knife. We are seeing Jack in menu. We'll see if he puts on that Odin Esper. Just messing around with relics at the moment. Maybe he already did and I missed it.
Looks like he's actually going to take an early fight, maybe just to gain a few levels. When your characters start at level 3, really those first couple of levels are almost the most important, just because you have so little HP at level 3.
Yeah, and if you have no ability to really heal yourself, then getting those early levels is going to make bosses a lot easier going forward. So certainly something I would do. Hero ring up in one of the barrels in Tomasa. That's a very nice find. Boo finding that gem box in the Cider Man's house. So we've seen a couple decent treasures so far, but it certainly hasn't been as generous as Monday was.
Well, they can't all be that nice.
Especially not if you're in charge. Didn't you roll the one Monday?
I did.
So you used up all the good stuff. Another gem box for Boo.
If they can find some good spells, this could be a seed where magic carries them. This might actually be a case where I would be on the lookout for an economizer here early.
Yeah, or a gold hairpin, certainly. Economizers and gold hairpins, after about the third of the way through or the halfway through a point of the game, I will sell them most of the time, but in this seed, I would probably keep hold of them.
Yep. So Locke just went to Gao Manor and talked to the ghost there, found the Esper Ifrit, which has both Flare and Quick.
And Quick with a gem box is a major strategic benefit.
It absolutely is, and it's one of those times where I would actually want to keep the economizer longer than normal, because Quick is an expensive spell to cast.
It's not cheap. Jack going for some pugs in a box in a chest he almost never checks. You can see he's trying to change his strategy up for this no shops thing. Just trying to get as much stuff as he can. And if he gets Minerva's here, everyone can equip every piece of equipment with these flags. So,
Yep.
It's not just Terra Celeste.
Yep, that is another piece of these flags, is that everyone is equipping everything. Which does mean that anything you find can be used.
Yep. Which is helpful when you got no shops to back up your finds. Jack taking a reset there, having taken a pearl right to the face.
Yes. So we do have some of the other flags to note. Multi-summon is enabled, so you can summon the Espers as many times as you please.
Mm-hmm.
And Atma, in his notes, while he shared these flags, he thought that the limited items and equipment available in each seed are randomized, so practicing might not help as much as just pure game knowledge and the ability to dynamically strategize with what can be found. So hopefully that's what we see here
in that chest. But yeah, we are going to be seeing, this is all going to be meta knowledge. This is very little of it's going to be practicable. Like you said, you could do this 100 times and have 100 different results. It's not going to be much like a normal seed where you have that backup of here's all the basic items. I can try this, I can try this, I can try this.
Exactly.
And Jack, figuring it out after purchasing a couple dried meats that he's got nothing else to spend his money on, so he just spot them all.
I mean,
Odin, Cure 2 and Cure 3, so they do have healing capabilities. There was also a piece of gray magic on there, but I didn't see what it was.
does it really matter?
Some of them are quite useful. I see Celeste has Stop on her. I don't know if that's a piece of natural magic or if she learned it from Odin.
That is one of her natural magic spells. Jack also just found an Excalibur, which I believe might technically be, according to vanilla logic, the best weapon that has been found thus far.
It's the sniper, but yeah, the way the game presents them, the Excalibur is better.
Yes,
Locke
I think
fighting a big old dinosaur, that's probably not going to work out well.
these dinosaurs tend to be a little bit, little rough. But he is making use of that throw and throwing things like the Imp Halberd, which the Imp Halberd does have, I believe, maxed out battle power that typically only happens if you're an imp. But if you're throwing it, it ignores the fact that you're not an imp.
Yep, it's much like the heal rod. Not that useful in practice most of the time, but if you can throw it and not hit yourself in the back of the head, it's quite nice. Red jacket for Boo there in that clock in Narsh, and Jack is fighting Vargas and the Ipoos at the Tritox spot. Not the Tritox spot, the Welk spot.
Yeah, I actually find it interesting that he's taking out the Ipoos first instead of going straight for Vargas. I think he was trying to sort of mitigate the amount of damage that they could do to him. But that wind slash was not kind.
No, if I was playing this seed, I would do one of the things I least like to do and just probably grind out for a bit at the start. Just because they got nothing to rely on, and if they're using up their good stuff at the start, they're not going to have anything left at the end. Like we're seeing Locke throw all his stuff, use all his nice items, etc. Those might be the only Phoenix Downs he gets all game.
Yeah, I think he took a reset and is retrying this fight.
Oh yes, and it's therefore no longer a side attack, so it's going to be a little bit harder. Also, Brachiosaur, not the nicest thing to fight for grinding because it has Sneeds. You might wind up with one character getting 1/4 of the experience it gives out. We did see Realm there. She will be available at the Umaro check. Enhancer in a box for Jack. That's quite nice with magic.
Very nice. Realm, the Murder Child, is one of my personal favorite characters in this game. She's a little less exciting when she has Sketch, because it's underwhelming at best.
At best, yes.
But she does have the highest natural magic stat in the game, so if you get some good spells, and we've found some gem boxes, she can be an incredibly powerful asset. You just have to invest a little bit into her.
Yep. I would say in these flags, if they hadn't found those nice cure spells, she might also be a bit of a liability, what with her very small HP pool towards the end. But, ooh, a retainer fight on the river. Jack's penchant for loving the fixed encounters is probably not going to work out well for him here.
Oof. But if he's able to get through the fight, currently they're not doing a huge amount of damage. It could be a big boon in terms of XP gained. On the other hand, he is just doing the runaway strat. Let's run to the other side of the raft and they'll ignore us now.
Yeah, I mean, you can only swim so far. Especially when you're just standing on the water like Jesus. Oh, but now he's just got some Slurm, and that stuff's highly addictive, so he'll probably fight that one out. Boo! Killing a Vargas! Ruining his music career forever.
I am actually very impressed he got through that with the amount of trouble Jack had with that fight. Boo just must have gotten lucky and not hit any of the
I didn't see a jail cut. Shoot! Cure 2, Bolt 2, Osmos. Osmos is the spell I would be most wanting to find in this seed.
Absolutely. No guaranteed elixirs, no way to buy ethers or anything like that.
Not even
Yeah.
any tents.
I'm gonna take Osmos, and it's gonna be basically my main healing because it will restore my MP, and then I can cast the Cure 2 and Cure 3 that I found on the other Espers.
Yep. A nice quick Osmos Cure 3. Gonna save your bacon a lot of the time. I like how we've seen... Boo didn't spend all his money. So he may be saving some of that for the auction house.
Between the auction house and the Thief and Zen, there is some stuff to spend your money on, but I do understand the impulse to buy a whole bunch of dried meat because each dried meat does heal 150 HP, which is not nothing.
It is not nothing. I know if I'm going through the game in a normal way, I will also buy 99 tonics, just because it's free health essentially. And when you're a kid, you don't know all the good ways to keep all your healths up and stuff. So it's just a bit of safety. Boo apparently going for some grinding here. Jack getting through a Tyrannosaurus that threw a blowfish at him, which is going to help his experience quite a lot.
Absolutely. But it's one of those, he's going to need to find a way to heal. It's great
he's got
that
a lot of dried meat.
Yep. It's great that he's got this level and he's got the, some improvement here. But, without healing up, you'll still be at 67 HP. Woohoo!
Yeah, that's all you need. But he's got some actual spells now. A bio getting cast there. Probably got a few healing spells, and he's about to go into the save point where he can use all of those delicious meats. Locke also electing to grind it out in Nourish World of Ruin, it would seem.
Yep. This is one of my favorite places to at least check for a grind fight if I need to grab a few levels, because it's right there next to the healing pot. Frankly, it's free and easy. Assuming that you can get through the battles, you got some free heals, and you can just fight those battles, get that XP, and move on with very little investment.
Especially when there's no, tents, etc. You could use an inn or whatever. But we did just see Jack do something very interesting, which was actually use the Soul Saber to get some MP. Not something you see pulled out a lot in this rando, or probably in vanilla. But if you use the Soul Saber to hit something, it's kind of like a drain, but just for a bit of MP. It's like the Drain Blade, or whatever it's called.
You know what? Until you get that Osmos, that could be a really, really useful way of getting your way through the seed.
Yep. Celeste does have Runic, so that's a way for her to naturally get some MP back, and also is a great bit of defense a lot of the time. But we do have Scaled Element on. So some of those, neutral magical attacks can be runicked, but you can't guarantee that those are the ones that are going to be thrown at you.
Right. You might be facing things like, later on Ultimas and, Fire 3s and Bolt 3s, but you might be facing Acid Rain or Flash Rain. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah. Or Scarbeam, which, can't be runic. Sorry about you.
Yeah, Jack doing some runicking and some morphing to get through this Doulahan fight. Getting the crit proc on that sniper, or probably not even a crit proc. It procs throw in whatever manner it decides to do that.
And he does manage to get 2 attacks off with that morph. Morph scales with how many MP you have gained from battles. So if you save it up, you can actually usually get through most of Final Kefka's fight with Morph, but Morph is so powerful that it is absolutely worth using earlier when you can basically double your attack and defense for a battle.
Yeah, very useful. And to answer a chat question, we are working here with a progress times 2 scaling, which means that for every Esper and character they find, enemies and bosses will go up 2 levels, plus or minus 1 overall. So it does get harder as they go on. Fire 3 on that Tritalk that Jack just got. Always nice to have a... Okay, this is a lot of raids. This is 4 raids. Thank you to Deoxys and Akeline and Rammstein and Francoise Harpy.
So yes, thank you everyone. Welcome. We are, for those who are just joining us, this is the Kefka Grand Prix finals. We are in the top 3. The winner and the second place finisher of this race will go on to our finals, which I believe are going to be held on Sunday, but that will be hammered out after this race once the racers agree on that. This has been the culmination of 8 weeks of group stage where we cut to the top 4. We had one player, Zelfer, get eliminated last week, Monday. It's been a long couple of days for me, can you tell? So now we are going for finding out who our top 2 are.
Yeah, Boo showing off here that Odin can just... Ooh, interesting. 2 of those enemies are not ID vulnerable. Oh wait, Odin can miss. Never mind. I'm thinking of Cleave. But it did still kill one thing. 2 people now fighting Vargas. Jack's gone back for some revenge, and Locke given his first attempt, and it didn't go well at all.
So one of the other flags that is on is the normalize and distort enemy stats flag. This is a flag that takes some of those early bosses like Leader and Vargas and maybe the early Ultros and gives their stats a little bit of a boost up to be more on par with sort of the average stats of bosses later in the game, which means that some of these bosses that normally you would brush off can actually be a little bit terrifying.
Particularly the Opera Ultros, I believe it is, where he pops up and down, because each of those different Ultroses have separate HP levels. So if you find that and you don't kill it before it goes under and comes back up, you're fighting a whole new Ultros, and that can be a big problem. Speaking of Ultros, we have Boo fighting one, but it's the wrong one. He seems to have sunk through the floor just a little.
I'm sure Ultros will be fine. I don't think he'll get a splinter from this at all.
Nah, he just jumps back from everything that gets thrown at him either way. Jack heading to the Magitech facility, and it seems like Locke is going for that Leet River check. I guess like Jack, wanting to get some experience.
Yeah, I think that's what our racers really need now. You know, they are looking for quite a few, characters and espers, but really they do need a couple of levels just to start, blowing through this seed.
Yeah. A 4th character would also probably be nice for them at this point. They are starting to run out of options. They still have some. Oh, that's Fenrir on Boo. That will be a massive help in the final fight. And it does have Ice 3 on it, as well as Break. But I did see Doom as a natural piece of magic somewhere.
I believe Terra had Doom, but yeah, Ice 3, if you are familiar with the vanilla speedrun, Ice 3 is one of the spells that carries you through most of the end game. So, it has its chops as a very powerful and useful spell.
Yeah, Jack going out of his way there slightly to get some chests that you almost never see anyone get, and I didn't know existed until a few months ago, where you go off to the right next to all those boxes in the Magitech facility and through a pipe, and then there's 2 chests way off screen.
All right, and we have another raid coming in from Life Reboot. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome to those just joining us to the final 3 of the Kefka Grand Prix. We are looking for our final 2. So the first place finisher and the second place finisher of this raid will go on to a final race later this week, probably on Sunday night.
Yeah, although You say we only have 3. I'm still rooting for Sir not appearing in this race.
You know, the bookies have given him really long odds that'll pay out phenomenally if he wins.
I'm just relying on that. Jack getting through tunnel armor there as the first check of the Magitech facility.
Tunnel Armor, another one of those bosses that gets significantly boosted by the normalize and distort stats option. If you have that flag on and aren't thinking about it, and you're like, oh, Tunnel Armor, it'll be fine. That was a Bolt 3 and that hurt.
Yep, he did find some marble shoes on that, and I will say, tunnel armor, one of the bosses I think that benefits the least from the normalized distort stats. It's still real weak to magic, so if you got magic, still pretty easy. If not, can be a bit of a problem. Especially, as you said, with the element scaling and such. But now Jack finds an Inferno, which is a bit of a worse boss.
Oof. Inferno is definitely going to be a bit of a wall here, considering what tools our runners have available to them at the moment. He is choosing to throw that Excalibur.
Yeah, surprised Jack didn't go for the Odin cast. I certainly would. Especially since he already had Runic up. Oh, that's a mistake.
It happens to the best of us. Runic is actually one of the better defensive abilities in the game.
Yep.
I think it gets a little slept on by a lot of players until they realize, like, oh, I can Runic Ultima.
You can Runic so many things you wouldn't expect to be able to.
Or, oh, I can Runic this. But once it's up, you often forget that it happens.
Yep. But, Odin cast on this could get rid of those 2 arms and prevent, for example, Delta hit. So I would have thrown that out probably right out of the gate. But it's just throwing little wussy bolts and stuff at him, so we'll see if he gets through it. I did see an ice shield on Boo there. I'm not sure where he picked that up. I don't know that I saw anyone else get it. But he's about to fight Dadaluma, and it's an Atma, another fairly rough late-game boss.
Oof, we are looking at all 3 of our runners actually facing some rough battles here. Locks on the River, which had retainers and dinosaurs, and some worms occasionally. You're hoping for the worms more than anything.
It's highly addictive.
Atma is a terrifying boss no matter when you face him, just because of how the element scaling works. Almost any of the spells he casts are going to be terrifying.
Yep, Jack has gotten through that fight there, but he does now have a shadow made of stone, which, if he doesn't have a way of healing that, could just mean he's going to leave. No, he's going forward.
He doesn't have a warp stone. He'd have to walk out.
Well, you only have to walk out to the room where you fight Ifrit and Shiva. There's a crane in there.
Fair point.
But it's also fairly rare to see Jack do the final part of this, even with a full party of healed people.
I mean, it is one of those times where you're going to probably want to take a few of these battles anyway, just for the XP gain. And if this boss isn't tough, depending on where that 4th character is, this might be where you have to go to get that character.
I have won a seed by doing this check when everybody else had warped out. Just because it was the only place for a character, and nobody else came back to it till way later because they'd already done the first 2 checks. But another thing that will help him is just before you fight the final boss of this place, if he can get through the next boss, you do get a free heal, which will unstone Shadow.
Yep, Boo is making his way through this Atma. It looks like, things are actually going to be going okay. He's holding his own. I think he's going to get through the Atma.
Yeah, we're seeing Life 3 getting cast a lot on Jack and Boo.
Yep, it automatically will cast life on the character when they die.
That's a Krakow for Boo. So we have now seen an Atma get killed. We're about to see if Zozo is the 4th character reward. We have yet to see anyone get a character yet.
I will say that is one of the almost dangers of starting with Terra and Celis and then having your third character be Shadow. Between those three characters, you have effectively 15 checks available to you.
Yeah, there's a lot. And he gets Carbuncle, the Esper, which, if he checks it, looking for a Warp Stone. Of course, he doesn't have one. Doesn't have Warp. Doesn't have Warp. So he'll be walking on out of there.
Zozo is one of the more unpleasant places to have to hoof it out of. And if I have a single Warp Stone, it is usually used in one of the Zozo checks.
Also, someone in the chat has made a valid point. It is, in fact, 7 characters, 10 Espers tonight. Whoever set up the layout must have gotten it back to back, or backwards to front. They got it mixed up.
But that should be a fairly easy fix in just a moment, so we'll get working on that.
Absolutely. So, we are seeing Dataluma on Jack's screen. Kind of a rough boss sometimes with the normalize and distort stats if you don't know how he works. If you hit him, I think it's 5 times with physicals or magic, he will just start throwing stuff at you. And anytime an enemy in this game throws things at you, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yes. Throw, I believe, ignores defense, which can be rough.
Yeah, anytime anything in this game throws something at you, you're not going to like it. Locke has gotten through the Leet River. Boo now going for the Magitech facility as Jack is working his way out of it. Locke looks like he's going for the Opera House, where we saw Boo get an Esper earlier.
Be very curious to see if someone goes for the floating continent. Again, depending on what's at the end of each one of these checks, floating continent might be required, and if someone chooses to go there early, it might be a big boon for them in terms of securing their spot in the final 2.
Yep, and as I have said previously, Jack does actually like the fixed encounter places, and apparently has forgotten that he's going to get a free heal here. So
he only uses a few dried meats. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, he'll be in for a pleasant surprise when Shadow is usable. But as I was starting to say there, Jack might go for the floating continent. He has found Setzer, so that is a 4th character. Opens up a couple checks pretty quick. But he does like the floating continent. He likes all the free encounter checks. I won't be surprised if he goes there unnecessarily.
I would be surprised if he went there before checking the Colligan Inn.
Absolutely. That's a 2-second check.
So that's where I expect Jack to go next. But we'll see, what his choices are after that.
Yeah, and as we've mentioned before, Setzer has slots because everybody has their natural vanilla abilities except for Gao, who has jump. And that's a dead Umaro.
Yep, when you've got Fire 3, that Umaro is not long for this world.
Or the other world, which is colliding into it.
Yep. Locke is also showing off the use of Odin there to clear out some easy trash mobs. But he also missed on the Slatter and the Warlock, which makes me think that they are not vulnerable to instant death.
Yes, the implication is certainly that those two cannot be killed that easily. Ifrit, from the Gao Manor Shadow check, it has Flare on it and Quick, as we saw earlier on, I think, Boo. A fair number of good spells so far.
Yep, we've got healing. We've got at least Life 3, which is some way to revive your characters, although you have to be a little bit more proactive with it than necessarily you would prefer. I'm definitely feeling like our runners have the tools that they need. It's just going to be a matter of finding the other characters and espers and finishing out the seed.
Yeah, I think the Kefka Tower Gauntlet might be the hardest part of this, obviously, with the lack of tents. But they do have Osmos, so if they make judicious use of that, we should see them get through there pretty easily. These are the top 3 runners, after all. And as usual, I looked away for approximately 3 seconds and did not see what Jack got in Collision.
It was a Thunder Shield. You know, wasn't progression, so a little bit sad about that. But if it's anything, getting an Elemental Shield is definitely worth it. And one of those Espers had Merton on it. I would be very surprised if we have the tools we need necessarily to do Merton strats, but we've seen at least a couple of Elemental Shields and at least one Red Jacket. So
Yeah, they just need one more piece.
Merton might be viable. It's a very powerful wind and fire elemental spell that hits everything on screen. So if you manage to have fire or wind absorption or nullification, you can do a lot of damage to everything on the screen.
One of the top tier stats if you find the gear for it. Jack has one-shotted a Sky Ultros and gotten for his trouble Alexander, which has Cure 3 and Mute on it. Nothing else there worth really talking about. Mute, mostly only useful for one boss at the end of the game, but can be used here and there.
Yep. One of the patterns that I've noticed as Worlds Collide has aged and matured, particularly the runners have gotten better, is the use of a few more of those gray magic spells. You know, Mute is good for magic on tier 2 of Final Kefka. Stop is useful against Poltergeist. Warp the spell instead of Warp Stones. It actually took a while for me to see people using Warp instead of Warp Stones.
Really?
Yep.
That's not something I was paying attention to, but I would have thought that was one of the more obvious ones.
You'd think a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of the gray magic, if you just play vanilla, after a very short time in most JRPGs, you just stop trying to use them because they almost never work on almost anything, and the game almost never tells you whether or not it worked. So it's just a big old hassle to figure out what is weak to what without some kind of guide.
But now knowing, as we do, there are certain of those spells that are absolutely worth it.
Yep. Jack getting into a Flame Eater fight, which he should not have trouble with. For an Esper in the Behemoth Cave. It's looking more and more like we might be finding that character on the floating continent. Well, another character anyway. Unless there's a character in Daryl's tomb.
Yep. I'll be interested to see if Jack goes for Daryl's tomb before the floating continent. It is a shorter check than the floating continent, but it's one that I don't see runners prioritizing highly.
I actually like it quite a lot. It's fairly short and has pretty good treasure density. And if you really don't like it, you can warp out before you even fight the boss.
That is true.
Well, you can take a reset anyway, because it tells you before the boss what the reward is.
Yep. Jack is making use of GP Rain. All of our racers did find a coin toss relic. GP Rain is all targeting multi hit and ignores defense. So, you know, is not actually a bad ability. It just got a little nerfed compared to Final Fantasy V, where it was a top tier strategy to throw money at your problems.
Just like in real life.
Too real, dude. Too real.
Yeah, well, like you said, GP Rain, not that great in this. It did get over nerfed from the last one, so we don't see it come out a lot. But, you know, when you don't have a lot of ways to do multi-hit stuff, maybe that's all you got.
Yeah, GP Rain, I think, has actually sort of moved up in a lot of racers' opinions over the last few weeks. It has been a pretty useful tool in a couple of the more recent seeds just because it is non-elemental damage. And sometimes it's really important to have non-elemental damage.
Absolutely. There's an Edgar at the Kefka at Nurse check. That will be helpful for Boo. Might send our runners in different directions between Jack and Boo. I know Jack, like myself, just abhors the Kefka at Nurse check. So it's unlikely we'll see him do that before he absolutely has to. Meanwhile, Locke of it to fight his Atma at the top of Zozo. Maybe get himself an Esper.
I'm sure Locke is just thrilled to see Atma here.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for more. You could ask for less and it would be helpful, but you couldn't ask for more.
So while our racers are fighting a boss that we've seen or running through caves, this is a good time to go ahead and shout out the rest of the Restream team. I want to give a big thank you to Jophis Mana for being our restreamer and Franklin or Frajan for being our tracker behind the scenes. Honestly, could not do this without their help. I would be very much distracted if I were trying to restream and track at the same time as I was trying to do the words.
Yeah, even just keeping track of the 4 screens as a single person, it's nigh impossible. So that person doing the tracking is a godsend that doesn't get a lot of praise because they're not very obvious. But without the restream and the tracker in the background, could be in for some trouble.
Yep. So Boo has found an Atma weapon at the end of Kefka at Narsh. So we have both Atma and Atma weapon being fought at the same time, which is not something you see often.
No, we got Big Brother, Little Brother, and Boo doing something you could not do to Atma, which is using a Pearl Rod, because Atma is one of the few bosses in the game that will actually absorb Pearl. And it did 10k, being as he's morphed.
Yep, Morph once again showing off doubling that magic power. Breaking Rods will also do the highest damage roll and ignore defense and ignore reflect and can do multi or single target.
Yes, that's something I didn't know until this rando was you can single target those rods, and it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Both Atmas going down. Jack making his way through Daryl's tomb.
Be very curious to see what is found here at the end of Daryl's tomb, and I'll be curious to see what Edgar gives to Boo here in terms of progression. Is Edgar going to be the key to unlocking the rest of the seed, or is Edgar going to be a dead end and a red herring?
Who knows? He does have 3 checks that you can do kind of all at once. So that's probably where we'll see Boo go in the near future.
Jack finds Magimaster.
Not a fun time there. He does have GP Rain and Flare, I guess, but not a lot to help him out with this. I won't be surprised if we see a reset coming here.
Magimaster, so we do know it's for an Esper. I believe it's for Seraphim. But chat was just noticing that Jack has not saved in a while, and then he saved just before this boss, and that was a good decision.
Yeah, Jack, one of his main problems is kind of overconfidence. And he will say, oh, I'm not taking the 2 seconds to save. That's 2 seconds that might lose me the race. And I'll be fine. But sometimes that causes him to lose 40 minutes.
Sometimes it's not fine.
Yeah.
Locke is now making his way through the Magitech factory. I believe that's the 3rd or 4th coin toss Esper these runners have found.
I've seen at least 3, yeah.
The game is telling you, throw your money at your problems. What else are you using it for?
Yeah. We'll see if Locke goes for that secret chest that I was talking about earlier. Again, I was not aware of that for quite a while. Edgar, unfortunately, not getting you a useful discount in this seed.
I mean, one of these guys could be selling dried meat, so you could buy it for half price.
Where's the secret chest? There it is. 2 chests, Break Blade, Noise Blaster. Noise Blaster's useful if you have Edgar. But
Absolutely.
not chests we see people go for often.
So Boo just found an economizer.
Another one.
Again, we mentioned this earlier. Normally, economizers are one of those relics that's like, oh, that's cool if you get it early and, you can use the the discount and cast, fire 3 when you're level 3. But with quick and flare and gem boxes, it might be one of the better strategies in this particular seed.
Yep, Jack going for another strategy I would probably personally employ, which is trying to fight the dragons for extra levels and treasures and stuff. It's going to be slightly hard. They are not scaled tonight, but you get a lot if you can kill them.
Absolutely. And Shadow just showing off Interceptor there being the bestest boy and saving that Shadow from taking a nap there on stage.
Absolutely. We are seeing Boo as not what I thought he was going to do. I thought he might have been in the World of Ruin going through the Ancient Cave, but he is in fact in the Behemoth Cave. A very different cave.
Yep.
And Locke coming up against Tunnel Armor, which he should have even less trouble than Jack did against.
This Fire Dragon is giving Jack a little bit of the what for.
What?
The Red Dragon is giving Jack a little bit of a...
Oh no, I just wanted you to say 4.
4?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Okay. I missed it.
They're fighting bosses.
They are. So, interesting thing, these dragons are not scaled, nor are they required. But they will still give you whatever they normally drop, in addition to a high-tier item reward after you fight them. Plus, I believe the phrase I'm going to go with is a stupid amount of experience points and magic points. So, if Jack is able to get through this, it's going to be quite a boon and quite a boost in power, particularly if he's able to find a way to get that Setzer to wake up in time for the to get that XP.
I would be surprised if Jack cared much about Setzer. Not a fan of slots that man. But, sometimes I think he's going to be much more concerned about getting Shadow off the ground.
I mean, at this point,
just happened to Celeste up there, but I did see her take the X from some kind of break. But Locke has killed Tunnel Armor.
And now Jack is just down to Terra. If he is able to get through...
Krakow!
What a clutch 800 damage swing compared to the multi-thousands of damage he was doing earlier.
Yep. But that'll be a lot of experience for Terra.
I mean, we all knew that Terra was going to be... Oh, and he picks up a cat hood.
One of the best helmets in the game. A little disappointing in this seed because it doubles the amount of money you get, which is nigh pointless.
One of? No, it is the best helmet in the game, as far as I'm concerned.
Arguments could be made.
It has some really good elemental resistances and stats in addition to the fact that it doubles your gold.
Yeah, it's one of the 4 hats in the game that's worth putting on.
I will absolutely agree with you on that one. A lot of the hats in this game are less than exciting. Boost somewhere along...
They exist.
Boost somewhere along the line has found an XP egg.
Which is always an amazing thing to have. Magus Rod there at the Mobliz check.
I would be very surprised if he continues with this check.
Magus Rod is a very good late game weapon for mostly defensive purposes. But yeah, not gonna be worth fighting 2 bosses over, most likely.
Yeah, Locke is making his own way through Inferno and showing that Flare, while a much maligned spell among many of the racers here, is consistent, high, non-elemental damage. The animation is just obnoxiously slow.
It is the slowest spell cast in the game. It is 13 seconds long, and that's a lot. So you don't want to rely on it per se, but it can get you through some stuff. Jack going back to Daryl's tomb for that Master fight, apparently.
I actually find that rather surprising.
Well, he has Berserk now.
Ah, well, that's less surprising now that I understand.
Indeed. If you'll excuse me for a moment, my cat is trying to kill herself with a wire.
Oh, well, hopefully he is able to prevent that from happening. Boo is actually going and checking out the floating continent. I'll be very excited to see what is not only there, but in terms of the checks, but also what enemies we're going to find here, because you can definitely get surprised by a lot of these bosses and these enemies, and you get fairly committed to the check once you start it. But that early fight of Vector Pups is and Muse. These battles are not scary. Although I do find it funny that Muse seem to be the enemy that is in the most of these fixed encounter spots. Rando's gonna rando, but I mean, I guess we're just having flans today. And let's see, that Seraphim gets safe. Not exactly the spell we were looking for from an Esper that we had to fight Master for, but it is progression towards getting into Kefka's tower.
I am back. Sorry about that.
I presume the kitty has been saved.
Yeah, there's just this one wire that she keeps knocking down and then trying to eat.
Kitties. They're special.
That is where the experience egg was. It is in Moblid, in that clock. And I guess we're seeing Boo go up to the floating continent.
Yep, and the early fixed battles were no problem. Let's see what this boss faces.
Kirby, Larry, and Mo.
These are never bosses I'm happy to see. These three guys are surprisingly obnoxious the entire way through the game.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how your characters are set up. Boo knows that the back one can be insta-killed, which is very helpful. And the top one went down in a hit or two, so...
Yep. Looks to me like Boo has probably out-leveled his enemies at this point, so...
Yeah.
I think he's outpaced the scaling a little bit.
Absolutely, and we are seeing Jack follow Boo up into the sky.
Yeah, I find it really fascinating that both Boo and Jack, they've taken incredibly different paths thus far. They've done things in different orders. They still both have 7 Espers, 4 characters, and they're, just trying to get through. They're trying to make that next breakthrough.
Yeah, I mean, they've mostly done the same checks, aside from the one Edgar check I saw Boo do, and the one that got him Edgar.
Yeah, the one that got him Edgar and the one that got Jack Setzer.
Yes, and then Jack... Oh, I guess Jack did go back to Daryl's tomb, so he did search the skies as well. So yeah, Jack has fully exploited Setzer. Boo hasn't exploited Edgar that much yet. I'm surprised he went for Floating Continent over Ancient Castle, but...
Me too, a little bit. But if you're, looking to make sure that you keep ahead of the scaling, fighting these battles will really give you those levels that you need. Hitting a goddess is never fun.
It's not ideal. And I think he was about to cast Bolt 3 on her before he changed his mind, which is good.
Ooh, that 600 damage is not encouraging.
Apparently he has a Greatest equipped, as I just saw a knife heal her. Well, yeah, we're about to see 2 of our runners do a fairly annoying fight.
Goddess is one of those bosses that, sort of no matter what level you're at, Goddess can take you down if you're not careful. Or if you get unlucky.
Especially if you have a mostly physical party.
Yup. without an offering, those physical damage are going to be a bad time for you.
Mm-hmm. Locke having a much nicer fight in the sky with just a regular old Umaro who's going to get a Fire 3 right in his face.
Turns out the Yeti that's used to living in, snowy, cold places and lots of fur doesn't like being set on fire.
Especially not in the middle of the sky.
That Umaro really found himself in a generally untenable position. I feel a little bit bad for that Umaro.
Can't even go roll around in the snowbank. It looks like Locke's about to do the collision check, which will net him a Thunder Shield, I believe it was. That is correct. Jack clearing out the Stooges and about to fight the Goddess fight. Something I neglected to mention earlier. There is a free heal between those two fights. So Jack will now be at full health, much like Boo was. I believe Boo even had a dead character.
Yep, it is one of those places in the game where Vanilla gives you a free heal because they thought it would be too mean to go straight from fighting Ultros and Chumpon into fighting Air Force without a chance to even open your menu in between.
Yeah, it can be an issue. Boo has gotten through the Goddess as Jack starts it.
Gets another Excalibur, which is, nothing to sneeze at, and finds another Esper here. We'll see what this Esper brings and what they might find here at the end of the Floating Continent. Still looking for more characters. This has been a very character-light seed thus far.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put down a prediction right now because this is a seed that I rolled, and therefore it's got to be mean in some way. Strago is going to be the character here at the end of the Floating Continent, and all three of his checks will lead to characters, so you have to do at least one of them.
Won't that be lovely? I remember the last time that happened.
I seem to remember one of the Kefka Grand Prix seeds having a required Terra at Fanatic's Tower.
That is correct.
I don't think that was the one that I picked the flags for, so I can't take the blame for that one, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, people aren't a fan of those Strago checks, and for fairly reasonable reasons. The chat just said prediction. Something.
So this is a new feature of Twitch. It is a way that you can bet your channel points, and the question is, will Strago be at the Floating Continent? I am going to put quite a few points here myself on yes, just because I feel like it.
Yay, gambling. That's interesting. I have not seen that come up before.
Yep, I'm going down with the big money and betting 10,000 channel points here on Strago being at the Floating Continent. I will note that there is no spoiler log. I rolled the seed at 6:50, 10 minutes before our race started, and so I do not have advance information here.
And we've seen a pretty even split, so I'm guessing most people went no, and it's mostly you on the other side.
That's fine. I believe someone else actually dropped 10K on the no, which, you're welcome for the free channel points.
Mm-hmm. But we're seeing a Air Force slightly displaced from where it usually is in vanilla. Boo killing it, Jack about to come up upon it. Not a terribly difficult boss when you have access to Bolt.
Not a terribly difficult boss, even if you don't have access to Bolt.
Generally. I have had it come up in the Fanatic's Tower, which is a problem if it gets the spec out.
Yeah. That Raiden does have magic power +2, but a little bit late for that to actually be a useful stat boost.
Better than nothing. Locke coming up against the Magimaster. We'll see if they have learned Berserk yet, or if they are aware that that's a major strategy. I certainly forget to even check for it a lot of the times. Like, I know it's a thing, it does not occur to me.
Fair. He does have X magic and double flares, so
Well, that'll get him through it. It just might be a bit slow.
it does appear that right now, Boo and Jack seem to be in the lead. Locke does need to make up some time if he wants to make it into that top two, or he needs to hope that either Boo or Jack take a wipe somewhere and lose a bit of time.
Yep, he's a few espers behind, and he's going down the Jack route, so he has yet to find Edgar. Whereas Jack and Boo are pretty much neck and neck. Boo's got a few seconds on Jack, and they've done a few different checks, but other than that, they're right on top of each other.
Yeah. And one thing I will also note is that they are still checking chests. Oftentimes, when I get to about an hour in the seed, unless things are going rough for me, I'll stop checking chests because I've got the tools that I need.
Yep.
But they don't have shops, they don't have anything else, so I would expect them to check chests throughout the entirety of this seed, to be honest.
I would not be surprised if they did. I think we've seen Jack skip more of them than Boo, but you know, hiding in the Hiding Knights. Not a good fight, but they do have Fire 3.
There is Fire 3, but also, I mean, they are facing off against the best, 50s band in Final Fantasy, Hiding in the Hiding Knights.
Oh, you think they're better than Vergus and the Ipoos?
Oh yeah, I really do.
I don't know, man.
Hiding in the Hiding Knights have the possibility of, bringing in that grand train. There is nothing grand about Vargas and the
Gotta
Ipoos.
have a loose train a coming. That's a reference nobody's gonna get. Proceed with your commentary.
Boo finds his way through the 50s band there, and Jack is just getting in there. I do think Jack is a little bit more powerful at this point, so I think he's been gaining some time here on Boo.
Jack has gone through the Lead River for the experience and so on.
Oh, it is not a character at the end of Floating Continent. Our runners are not going to be happy about that.
You have lost all of your channel points as well.
I have lost 10,000 channel points.
How tragic. What are you going to tell your family? They were relying on those points to put food on the table.
I think more surprising than anything is the fact that there was no character there.
Yeah, I mean, we do still have the ancient cave where Boo is now headed, and Jack has yet to get Edgar, or apparently do the opera has. So there are still some checks remaining, but yeah, it looks like it might be all locked behind Edgar at this point, as far as I can tell.
And in which case, that could be a huge boon here for Boo in terms of securing that spot in the finals. And if Locke makes the decision to go up to Kefka at Narsh and finds that Edgar, he could overtake Jack if Jack is spending time on other checks that just don't pan out.
Absolutely.
And this is one of those things about randomizers that I in particular really enjoy. Not just randomizers, in particular this one, is that you can make different routing decisions and sometimes end up in the same place based on how the seed plays out, but sometimes you will end up having to do those same checks as someone else.
Yeah, it does look like Locke has gone for the floating continent option though, so probably not going to be making up that time, at least not in terms of getting the early Edgar. But
yep.
We'll see what happens as we go on.
Yep. Boo is checking that out. He has found it is a Kappa here in the tentacles check. So if it's not the ancient castle, I actually don't know where else there would be a character.
I can't think of any checks that haven't been done off the top of my head.
I am looking back through the wonderful tracking sheet that Franklin has provided us, and I am pretty sure that it has to be in the ancient castle for a character.
It is looking that way. So yeah, it looks like Boo has gained some time, certainly by finding that Edgar and not doing the match tech facility and getting stuck in that little Setzer loop.
Yep. It is. I find it very, very fascinating.
That's an airship.
No, it's not. That is clearly not an airship. I don't know what happened.
An airship. It seems airworthy.
We'll see if that gets fixed on the next screen here.
It looks like it's taking some damage in the battle. Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. It's all in our heads.
Well, I think it is a tradition in these events to have something happen where you get to go, well, that's never happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's never happened before.
Yeah, that was an odd one. Boo finding the Ifrit Shiva fight there at the tentacle spot. Not generally an issue unless you find it really early to a seed. Also notable for being the only boss fight in the game you are able to run away from. If you do it whilst Eva is... Eva? That's not it. Whilst Shiva is switching to Ifrit or vice versa.
Yep. The don't run flag in this game is actually keyed to the boss sprites themselves. So there is a moment where no boss is on screen, so the can't run flag is not there. So if you sort of charge up your run meter ahead of time, you can run away in between.
I did not see what the reward for that was, but there was a snow muffler behind the reward.
It was also an item.
Hooray!
So I think the interesting question here is going to be, is Boo going to take the dragon that's down here, or is he going to try to avoid it and just grab that character and run?
I wouldn't be surprised if he skipped it, but I personally probably would take it just because it's on the way, and I think Boo has the power to take out pretty much any dragon he runs into pretty quickly. And there is no other boss down here. But these high-level runners are known for skipping a lot of stuff that other people might do.
And, sometimes that is what gets them into, these high spots. They're able to play it a little bit more risky. They are willing and able to, try to clutch it through with slightly less preparation than another runner.
Yep. We are seeing Locke fighting that goddess in the sky. Not a nice time for anyone, but our other two runners got through it, so Locke probably also has the tools required. Jack fighting an Atma in Zozo.
Yep, that Atma, still not kind. And Boo is going to take a little bit of time to loot out the ancient castle here. Not going to go fight that monster in a box, but going to go grab those free treasure chests along the way.
And why not? We'll see if he gets the other two. And he does. Another room I did not know about before this random.
You and me both, brother.
But yeah, Jack is running out of other checks. He will be forced to do Kefka at Narsh very soon.
And
we will get him the Edgar he needs.
And if he's anything like me, he's going to be salty about it.
Yeah, I am never happy when it turns out that that's required, because some people will go for it right away. And it is a check I will almost universally leave until the last minute.
Yep. Boo now finds Locke and is taking that dragon.
Yeah, went out of his way for it.
Locke opens up several very quick checks. The weapon shop in the World of Ruin, and then the South Figaro Cave, and Phoenix Cave. I would be very surprised, frankly, if Boo ends up going to the World of Ruin Narsh weapon shop, because it can't be a character, and he has his 10 espers. So I expect him to go to the South Figaro Cave next because it is far quicker than the Phoenix Cave.
That's a fairly good prediction. Phoenix Cave does has a lot of treasure he might want in it, and the Narsh does have the benefit of maybe a really fast Paladin shield, but probably not. So yeah, I wouldn't personally take the gamble on that.
Yeah, I mean, he did clear out the Welk spot, as chat is pointing out, so he could get both items, both rewards from the weapon shop, because the choice you don't make gets sent to the World of Balance behind Welk.
Yes. I don't think that's terribly likely that even if he did the check, he would take the time to go do that.
Unless for some reason the only character he finds next is Mog and has to go do the Lone Wolf check.
Exactly. It's a bit of a walk. Did Jack have a warp stone? Seems like he got out of there very quickly.
It wouldn't surprise me that a warp stone was found, and he has now found that Edgar and is building parties there. He is, again, I would not be happy about this at this point.
Neither would I. Anytime it turns out that you had to do Kefka at Narsh, Boo finding a Valiant knife off of that dragon. We'll see if he tries to go for the 2 monster in the boxes on his way back in.
Yeah, actually, with a Valiant knife, finding an offering right now could be really good. But is it worth the time is the question.
That is the question, because they do have a lot of top tier spells as well. So I'd be surprised, but it is a possibility. Well, mildly surprised. Oh, no, he's going for it.
Ooh, Telstar.
That gets you a green beret. That's a hat that's worth putting on, sort of.
It's at the bottom of the list of hats that I'm happy to put on.
Yep, but it is in the list, which is not most of the hats in the game. I mean, I'll take 10 physical evade and, like, what, 1/8 extra HP? It's not nothing.
Oh, absolutely. Totally willing to wear it, just I would hope for a better hat.
Exactly.
Ooh, that Atma weapon there for Jack is showing off. I wasn't sure if that was Wombat or Wump, but one of those tiered elemental spells that can do a lot of damage out of nowhere, to be frank.
Yeah, and it's not a spell you expect to see either, because it's one of those weird dance abilities that even if you're using dance, you don't expect to see, so you just forget it exists.
Yep.
Yeah, that Atma weapon is not being very nice.
No, and Presenter gives you some decent. It gives you a decent weapon. Again, not exactly what you're looking for at this point, but it's not nothing.
It's also insta-killable, so at least it's quick. Krakow. And that's why the air anchor is good.
Absolutely.
So that will net him some Tiger Fangs Dragon Claw, which is a decent stat weapon.
It is true that there's really the best weapons in this game are ones that have additional effects. They either proc a flare or a pearl in terms of Ragnarok and Illumina, or they ignore defense, or they do extra damage for reasons.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of the armor. What you want more in this game is definitely effects on stuff than pure stats. Because you're going to get more, unless it's evasion, you're going to get more out of just leveling up than you are out of having a few extra stats most of the time.
Exactly.
I think the only stat that doesn't actually go up is speed. I think that's just locked to your character.
I think you are correct, but I would need to double check that. That's why there are guides and things where all of this stuff is written down, because I can't remember it all off the top of my head.
Yeah. I mean, certainly of the core stats, your strength, your speed, your
Yep.
Magic,
You know,
etc.
Boo is actually going to check out that curse shield. I have to say I'm a little surprised. Unless this curse shield is like 3 battles or less, I would be very surprised to see him uncurse
25.
it.
That's not happening.
Yeah, nope, not on this planet.
It was a gamble and it didn't pay off.
I mean, it's a fairly short gamble, and, you know, maybe he can find some particularly good equipment here.
Yep. I mean, it's not like it was impossible he was going to go here. Oh, he's taking the fucking... he's taking the Illumina.
I would too. Absolutely reasonable choice. That is quite a boon there for Boo. You know, it is definitely paying off in ways that weren't necessarily guaranteed.
Yeah, best weapon in the game, yes please.
It's also the best armor in the game.
Yep. It's kind of ridiculous.
To be fair, in the vanilla game, to get an Illumina, you have to give up an Esper, and then for a sword, and then bet that sword at the Colosseum and fight one of the hardest fights in the game for it.
Yeah, and it's the best sword you've ever found, so you're gonna think, why would I do this?
Right.
It's basically not something you do unless you find a guide. Fix. Rav, I'm guessing.
Oh, Jack, I'd apologize if I actually felt bad about it.
You shouldn't feel bad for making Jack go through hard things. But yeah, the process to get an Illumina in vanilla FF6 is basically you're never ever going to find it unless you're going out of your way to 100% things.
Yep. Boo has found a charter nook here at the South Figaro Cave. Frankly, this boss, not that scary.
If you find it early, it can be a big problem, but otherwise, no.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of bosses like that if you find them near the start, you're going to have a bad day. But otherwise,
Yeah. Looks like Locke is going for the Kefka and Narsh battle himself and is just a few steps behind the other two.
Yep. Couple Espers behind, but, you know, won't take long to get them.
Yeah,
And
really.
a couple Espers behind Jack only, and Jack has extra Espers.
Yep. All it takes for Locke to secure his spot is one misstep from either Boo or Jack, and them losing a little bit of time.
Pretty much. It's much like Monday. It's a fairly close race. One person a little bit behind, but within catch-up distance if someone messes up.
Absolutely. And even though these are the top tier runners, you know, this is a randomizer. Randos are going to rando at you, and anything could happen.
Especially once you get to tier 2 and 3 Kefka. Ooh, Locke a bit of a misstep there. While showing his agitation by moving back and forth.
Yep, not going to get too punished here. This battle, he's going to be able to run from it. Even if he fought it, it would be pretty quick.
Boo finds a go-go.
Which means that now you have to go do Zone Eater.
Yeah, this is quite the chain of character getting.
Well, actually, your choice is Zone Eater or Phoenix Cave. Where do you go?
I would go to Zone Eater. I don't find it that annoying. I know a lot of people really, really hate it. I don't find it that bad.
Oh, those green men in Zone Eater drive me nuts.
Yeah, but it's still going to be way faster if you don't mess up the smashy part. And yeah, it's going for the Zone Eater. Locke, meanwhile, has found his Atma weapon, and Jack's about to go to the Ancient Cave.
Be interesting to see when Jack picks up his lock if he goes for the Phoenix Cave before he goes for South Figaro Cave. I don't expect it.
Be surprised if he did.
But it's one of those things, if you're at this point in a race like this, you know that your opponents are probably doing roughly the same things you are. So if you think you're behind, you could take one of those slightly off meta plays in the hopes that it pays off.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see Jack do is go straight to tunnel armor, though. And he's almost definitely going to skip that nurse check and not get that Illumina. Just from what I know about how Jack plays the game. Which is essentially do the fastest things and do the fixed encounters and just go.
Yep. I believe you described Jack as almost overconfident. Some might say a little reckless.
Yeah, overconfident is one of the best descriptions you can have of Jack in any context.
And keep in mind, we do say this as people who like Jack and enjoy his company. So, you know.
He's been my best friend for 30 years, and I hate the guy.
No actual shade here is being thrown.
No, he's got his own umbrella. He doesn't need it. And Boo showing off the room that people hate. I do actually think this room is harder in the rando, because if those boxes have longer named items in them than you would expect, you don't actually have enough time to check the first two together.
That's why I've gotten crushed a few times.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta play it careful there. Oh, my stream's doing a thing. I'm gonna have to reload.
Oh my god. Boo finds an Umaro.
Well, this is quite the series of characters.
Which then means Umaro's check leads to the murder child.
Yep.
But Boo ain't gonna do it. He's got his 7 characters.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if anyone does it. I mean, extremely surprised. I know Jack won't. And I don't know why Locke would, but yeah, that's quite the chain of characters you set up with your role here.
It's truly amazing with, effectively a 3-character start, because you picked up Shadow very quickly, effectively having one route through the randomizer.
Yeah, and especially with all of the checks that those characters have. They're some of the check-heaviest characters in the game. Granted, some of them can't give you characters, but still.
I'm sure someone around could do the math and predict the likelihood of such a railroaded seed. It's not good.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, though. Yeah, and we are seeing Jack going for the tunnel armor right away, as I predicted. Meanwhile, Locke apparently going to the Behemoth Cave, which he hasn't done yet.
Ooh. I understand the choice, and I probably would do something very similar, but it's just not the right call right now, based on what we know.
No, unfortunately, Boo's lead is pretty much just based on him finding Edgar early and not doing all the Strago checks and all the Setzer checks, and did we see him do the Behemoth Cave?
I can check that. We have a wonderful tracking sheet. Let's see. Boo did do the Cave of the Bell.
So he did do all the shadow checks then. It's just he didn't get caught up with the Magitech facility and the Setzer checks, which just basically gave Espers for nothing. So yeah, the early Edgar for him, doing that Kefka nurse check has given him a significant lead.
Yeah, and he is taking full advantage of that lead, running through, still checking those chests and finding an ice shield for his troubles, absolutely worthwhile.
That's Merton strats, but, it's probably a bit late for him to be thinking of that.
Or it's just, effectively a better rod that he can break in the fight.
That's probably what we're going to see. That's something you don't see a lot of newer racers or less experienced racers do, is just use the shield straight up to attack things. But Jack especially will just break anything, throw anything. And other top racers are in a similar boat, especially with the shield. So anything that gets it a bit faster.
Yep. Fascinating here. Jack is, because he has the Setzer, doesn't need to go do the Zone Eater check.
Yeah. So, not too far behind Boo. If Boo makes a mistake, Jack could win first place. If either of them make a sizable mistake, Locke could still catch up, though he is falling a bit further behind. He is on the right track now, at least, going for the ancient castle.
Yep. One thing I was trying to say earlier is I definitely like this randomizer compared to the other main one I play is Free Enterprise. In Free Enterprise, you're looking for key items, and
Yeah.
you're always going to need to find, certain key items. So no matter what seed you're doing, everyone's eventually going to do the same checks.
Yeah, I have
Here-
a similar problem with Career Day, where it just winds up being a scavenger hunt.
Which, no, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the randomizer, still play it regularly.
Oh, yeah, they're both good. Just
But one of the differences for Worlds Collide is that you're just looking for a number of characters and espers. It doesn't matter who those characters are. So if you are in a seed with branching paths, you can have, two runners end up at the final boss with a completely different set of characters.
yeah, this one has wound up more of a scavenger hunt than seeds usually do. If you have Terra has 5 checks, I would normally expect probably 2 of those to be a character.
I mean,
Based on just pulling numbers right out of my butt.
Terra, Celis, and Shadow, I would have expected, more than one of those to have a character at them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit more railroady today than usual, but sometimes that's what happens in a rando, even when it's as open as this one is.
Yeah, rando's gonna rando is, I think, one of the most important things to learn if you are playing randomizers is that sometimes the game just doesn't like you.
Yep. Sometimes you save yourself into a corner, and then you have to fight Poltergeist for 40 minutes.
That's only happened on stream a couple of times.
Yeah, but I won. I won.
You won the moral victory. For
I didn't win the race. I definitely didn't win the race, but I killed Poltergeist. Well, yeah, sometimes you just make what on the meta or, would appear to be the right decision, and then it turns out that, it's just a rabbit hole, and you've, someone who made a slightly different or slightly wonky decision might turn out to be better.
Yep. I do believe going here into Kefka's Tower, Jack is a little bit stronger than Boo just because he did take those extra checks, so he has a few extra levels on him.
He also did a bunch of fixed encounter checks.
Absolutely.
Boo does have the experience egg, but if you've only got one of them, it's not as big of an advantage as he had on Monday when he was the only person that bought 4.
That was absurd.
And did it immediate.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we are seeing 2 people pretty close on the end game here. Hopefully Locke can have them do a mistake or something, because at the moment it does look like he is going to be getting knocked out today, but Kefka is never predictable. Even if you're supremely well set up, tiers 2 and 3 can super mess with you.
Absolutely. Here's one of my, I say favorite. I use that term loosely. Things about the normalize and distort stats feature here. It messes with girls' HP on tier 3.
If you can't do enough damage, she might be able to out-Pearlwind your damage dealing abilities.
Yep. Girl in vanilla has 9,999 HP. However, with this flag on, she can have up to, I believe it's about 27,000 HP.
Something like that. It's a lot.
Which is a lot.
And she has a 1 in 3 or 1 in 2 chance of casting Pearlwind per turn, so she might just heal back up if you can't do more than 10k a turn.
Absolutely. That has caused me problems before, and I believe that's a vanilla poltergeist.
I did not see where it came from, but it was a leader at Guardian, so yeah, probably vanilla poltergeist.
Is this even randomized?
Maybe. I don't know. You rolled it.
Poltergeist is regularly one of the most terrifying enemies, or, spicy chicken. A very terrifying enemy to find if you don't know that he is vulnerable to stop.
Yeah, or that you can put him between two buns, and then it's just delicious.
I don't even know what to do with that entity. I just don't know.
You eat it with your mouth. You put it between your teeth, and you move your jaw up and down.
Anyway, so actually, I find this a really fascinating sort of confluence of events here. Boo and Jack are both on Poltergeist. They both sent Celis and Go-Go down this route.
I mean, that makes sense. Celeste seems to have a lot of magic on both of them. And if you've got Go-Go to mimic that, and they both have gem boxes on her, so yeah, mimicking double magic, pretty potent. Although obviously Go-Go's not very good at magic, so there's about a halving of damage between them.
So I do appreciate Hudat's Poltergeist's goose is cooked, but I think you missed out on an opportunity to say Poltergoose is cooked.
Yeah, you messed that up. Oh.
I apologize for none of my puns. I've been very, very tame in the pun department.
Well, yeah. I mean, just now you've invited the storm.
And Locke is now going and doing that South Figaro Cave check as well.
And 2 poltergeist kills on screen at the same time.
Jack has now officially caught up to Boo, and I think those few extra levels.
Seconds to lead, yeah.
Jack has taken the lead, barely, but he has. I think at this point, it's coming down to menuing and execution of the final battle between these two. It is amazing how close they are.
Yeah. There's a dead Go-Go on Boo, but I don't think that's going to matter. So it's mostly just execution at this point, and whether or not tiers 2 and 3 decide to just be absolute
garbage.
That's a lot of fiery octopus.
Oh.
So we have seen 3 of the 4 Ultros fights. Maybe the 4th one will be the other statue.
You know what? I think that would be appropriate. I am always a fan of the squid.
Hey, he's octopus royalty. Don't you dare call him a squid.
I mean, I'm sure he would taste just as good fried and dipped in marinara sauce as any other squid.
See, now you've just made me want a spicy chicken, a goose, calamari, and octopus.
And now Locke joins our other runners in go mode. Go giving, I guess, go mode.
Yeah, go mode. Jack has killed his octopus slightly before Boo. Boo did a bit of menuing, moved a character, so it's hard to tell exactly who's still in the lead. Locke going for that Illumina getting check there at the old man, and it's a Funbaba for Jack. Morphing as I would expect, and putting a weapon on Locke, except he doesn't have any.
I had to go in and double check to see if Funbaba 3 was shuffled into the boss pool. It is not. This is not the Funbaba that will blow you out of the tower.
No, which would be just horrendous. especially if it blew Terra out of there. I do think Boo probably has a slight advantage in this fight over Jack, what with having Umaro and a weapon on lock. But, not using Morph, so we'll see what happens.
But he is taking advantage of the fact that Funbaba is weak to poison.
Yes, Jack did a bio, but it didn't do as much damage as his Fire 3 did.
Ooh, this Funbaba is actually dishing out quite a bit of damage there.
Yeah, this might put Boo back into the lead. Although Jack did throw out a lot of damage at the start with his Morph use. And I predict what we're going to see moving into Final Kefka is Terra, Celeste, Shadow, and Edgar.
Certainly for Boo, I'm not sure if Jack's necessarily going to be using Edgar because he hasn't had him around as long.
It's also a question of whether he remembers that he found the air anchor, which is the main reason to take him in.
Absolutely.
But we are seeing Locke starting to make his way through Kefka's tower. Still definitely close enough to the other runners that if a major mistake or unfortunate thing happens, that he could catch up. One thing to note about the fight between Boo and Jack here is that Jack is getting health from Funbaba's bolt casts, whereas Boo is taking damage.
Yeah, so he's having to take some time and cast some curing spells here.
Yeah, that was almost a wipe for him.
That's a little nervous making there.
Yep. And Jack appears to be out of MP.
I think secretly that MP is the real limiting resource here in this seed.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see him cast Osmos. Or he just decided that maybe attacking was enough and it was close enough to death, but then it turned out it wasn't. And now it's dead. Or quite even more likely just trying to save that MP for the start of the Kefka fight. So once again, both bosses being killed nearly the same time. It's all up to Final Kefka now between those two.
Yep. So I think now is going to be a good time to note, so our final flag set has not been fully revealed yet, but I will reveal that it is going to be a very, very starkly different seed than this one. The shops are mostly random, and you're going to start off with a certain amount of gold. I think it's, 400,000 or 500,000 gold, but that's all the gold you get in the seed.
I know exactly what seed flags you're talking about. Or at least pretty close to it. And it is an interesting thing to see high tier racers go through, certainly. That will be very interesting. Also, since we're seeing our racers going up to the end, it might as well be a good time to go follow them.
Absolutely. Go ahead and throw them a follow. They've been putting on a... Shadow is partying on his way to Kefka there for Boo. I don't know why that's happening, but it's very entertaining to me.
That's my guess.
Jack did not even bring Thanks Rav along.
Oh, I'm not sure you're aware of this. You probably are, but something I mentioned last week to Courant, or not last week, I made the same mistake you did. Monday. It doesn't matter if you don't bring them along. The ones who are left behind just get randomly shunted into their remaining positions. So they still come with you.
Oh, absolutely, but, he didn't even select me. I'm a little hurt by this.
I think he might be, just a little mad.
I can't imagine people being salty with me for my seeds. Never. That has never happened in my life.
I've never heard of it. No, my stream's being all chunky.
Mine as well, but a quick refresh brought me right back. So they are now in Final Kefka Tier 1. Oh, Jack is able to use Yoga there with the air anchor.
Yes, so he took the air anchor, but still mad at you.
I believe Boo instead used the Odin Esper to get the insta-kill on the long arm there.
Mm-hmm. Also making use of Fenrir, I think I saw. I'm not sure whether Jack found that or not. Probably. I mean, they've mostly done the same things. But Fenrir and multicast kind of makes some things in this final battle a lot easier.
Absolutely.
I guess Jack has done Fenrir. I can see the flickering now.
Yep. That is one of the... Fenrir and Golem are the one reason why a lot of people don't like to play with multi-summon Espers, because those Espers can really invalidate a lot of enemies. And oh my... They are going to tier 2 at the same time. How are they still this close?
I don't know. They both went back and forth on a few of those little bosses. Jack's still a couple seconds ahead, but this is going to be one of the closest races I've seen, if this keeps up.
And again, all it takes is, tier 3 to, triple cast Meteo and hit everyone, and, one of these racers could absolutely still wipe at this point.
Yeah, even tier 2 can be more of a problem than some people think. You can get zombied, you can get frozen, lots of nasty things can happen. They do, at least one of them, have access to mute. They both have insta-kill things. So again, at this point, it's mostly execution. I think I just saw Boo use stop on something. Oh no, it was mute. That makes more sense. You mute the back one because it can cast seemingly every spell ever.
And it just loves to do it, and ugh.
Yeah, I'm constantly surprised that, I've played this game a lot, at least 3 or 4 times. And that thing still casts spells that I didn't know it could cast.
Yep.
Okay, Boo did cast stop on hit. And as someone in chat is saying, Ficta, I was also not aware that was a thing.
I'm not sure it is. I think it missed.
I'm loving the Sir Not Appearing jokes. Boo does have a frozen shadow, which is on a frozen and stopped shadow, which is just overkill.
If a little is good, a lot must be better, right?
Yeah, that's how food and art works. So it's gotta be the same for video games.
Yep. Locke makes his way through the spicy chicken and is, coming up behind these other 2 racers, not that far behind, to be honest.
No, again, just one mistake or, a rough tier, even if they don't lose to the tier, could put Locke in contention for second place. Tier 3, certainly with the normalize and distort stats, can be an issue. Even if you're doing a lot of damage, it can just heal and heal and heal and heal, and it just takes a long time.
Yep. 10 hits is also occasionally way more terrifying than you'd think. You can see that almost took out Celis.
That would not have been good for Jack.
But I do think that they are going to be just fine here.
Got an X potion, so that's gonna be helpful. Jack showing off that magic is floating by throwing a sniper at it.
Yep, there does not appear to be a very consistent rule of based on the sprite work or the art on who's floating and who is not.
It's totally random. Like, those pterodons in the Leet River, the very clearly flying wyverns. You can hit those with Quake.
Yep.
Yeah. Lots of other examples similar. Some things that look like they're flying aren't. Some things that don't look like they're flying are. And weirdly, Quake and Earth are 2 different things, so you can hit things with Earth damage from certain things that you can't Quake, and etc.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions you can't answer in this game without a guide. But Jack has finished tier 2, whilst Boo still toughing it out.
Again, maybe 10 seconds behind.
Yep. Just got through there. Locke has finished his octopus fight. Jack has gained a teeny tiny bit more lead.
Yeah. Thank you, Game Boy, for pointing out it's actually 11 seconds. I was estimating, and Game Boy sat there and counted. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you were so wrong, man. I'm sure everyone's very disappointed in you.
Off by a full 10%.
Come on. Jack getting a Merton at the start, which is a bit worse than the nothing that happened to Boo with all those misses. Jack apparently just giving up on Go-Go, though, and throwing everything he has at Girl. And also Sleep. One thing to note is Boo does still have access to his morph, so he might be able to take out Final Kefka faster than Jack can.
Yeah, we're also a little unsure exactly how much HP this girl has. So in this case, I think I would rather be Boo double casting Flare on her because it does a little bit more damage than Jack's Terra just swinging that sniper, not getting a lucky proc on either of those attacks.
Sniper is good, but it is not 100% reliable. And another Merton. Girl on Jack's side has less than 5,000 HP at this point, having healed 28k on that Merton. Jack's gonna be wanting to cast another Fenrir real soon if he doesn't want to lose his girls.
One thing to note, Jack's team. Ooh, Jack. Oh, that's not good.
No, bit of an issue for Jack here. He can recover if he has the right items and stuff.
Absolutely can. Meteo is a terrifying spell. It does have a base chance to miss. So that's at least a good... Did he just...
Yeah, Jack pulling the high tier genius strat of healing sleep to stop any further meteos getting thrown at him. Unfortunately, now he has a dead Celeste and a dead everyone else except Terra.
Oh no, Jack.
And no way to heal them. He's taken the reset. That is the correct decision. He still can have second place, but Locke is right behind him now.
And now Boo has lost 2 characters as well. There is a chance that Boo could take a wipe here too, and then all 3 players would be basically even throughout the rest of this fight.
Boo does at least have some items and stuff, but that's another Meteo to the face, and that's a wipe for Boo, but he has the life 3 on 2 characters. Is it enough, or is he going to get hurt even more? Oh, and it's X magic on Celeste. That's going to be a slow cast.
It is, but he's going to get a cure and a life 3 off if he manages.
Get a Meteo.
Celis lives. So that's at least something. Now, Locke and Jack are actually... Good lord, they're neck and neck.
Oh, there's another Meteo. But it misses Celeste, who must have some... The question is, can Boo get anyone else off the ground? He's got 1 more Phoenix down. Going for Terra, the correct decision. Locke now slightly ahead of Jack. This is an incredibly tight race.
For Jack is there, trying to figure out which party he wants to bring. Boo is really getting punished by the fact that X magic has a longer cast time than regular magic.
Yeah, it is double the cast time. So enemies can definitely take advantage of that. pulling out the morph to try to get through this without any further loss of life. I don't think he has access to Fenrir with these two characters.
Oh no.
So he might just get communist to death.
Oh, that would be so tragic.
This is
Oh, wait, he has life 3.
communist. Terra's up. Is it Terra again? No! Boo survives with both his girls. Just barely.
Well, at least he's not worried about Fallen One, I guess.
Not gonna do much to him at this point. This is quite the end to a race.
And Locke is moving up to tier 2 already, leaving Jack behind on tier 1. I think Jack's taking this fight a little bit more cautiously than he was before, just to make sure that he doesn't take another wipe. You know, all of our racers know that no one has finished yet, so they've got to be assuming that, you know, their opponents are in the Kefka fight at this point.
Yeah, Jack moving on to tier 2. Not that far behind Locke, but which one of them wins is a big old question mark. Boo having his dead characters replaced with dead characters. So, I mean, Kefka, if you're paying attention, not usually that dangerous. He can occasionally do real nasty things, but with life 3 and a bit of counting, he should be fine to get through this.
Yeah, unfortunately, Boo uses all of his timer during that life 3 animation. Little unfortunate, but, you know, sometimes that's just how it goes. Queuing up a double cure 3, wants to make sure that his girls get up to full HP. He has no life magic other than life 3, so he is facing Kefka with just these 2. I think Jack just took another wipe.
Yeah, I wasn't looking, but either he reset or something real bad happened.
Yep.
So, as I was saying when they were going through Kefka's tower, one mistake, one nasty bit of luck completely upsets the race.
Yeah, looks like he got imped and then had no way to cure it. With these particular flags, if you don't have access to remedies or green cherries, and, you know, the wrong character gets imped, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and when you're basically relying on 2 characters, as it seems like every racer is doing, pretty much. Just Terra and Celeste with all the magic in the world.
So,
if all of them takes an imp, you got a problem.
Boo is one of those moments, I think he's kicking himself a little bit. He has had Quick almost this entire seed, and just cast it for the first time.
Yeah, I saw that. That's unfortunate, but he's got a pretty substantial lead here, and that should...
He does.
get him through.
Locke now headed to tier 3. Locke has been using the Merton strats, I've noticed. So if tier 3 opens up with Merton, it is not going to be a problem. He's going to be taking 0 damage.
Yep, Merton is great. Even at the end game, it's a fantastic spell. The only real problem you're going to have with it is Girl, who is absorbs every element.
There we go. You see the 0 damage Merton. That is a net positive here for Locke there. Although it was immediately countered by a Whirlwind, so, you know, no harm, no foul.
There comes the Goner on Boo. That's a dead Celeste who comes back to life. He's got the Cure 3s to deal with it. We should be seeing Boo killing Kefka in the near future. Oh, Havoc Wing. Not taking it to Terra.
Oh, God. I expect him to put up the life 3s again.
Yeah, there it goes.
This Kefka has really shown that one of the reasons why we do an unscaled final Kefka is because we want this final fight to be an epic thing. You know, if it was scaled to level 40, all 3 of our runners would be done with it by now.
Absolutely. That used to be the standard, and it got changed for a reason. Down goes Celeste before the life 3s come out.
Oh, no.
So it's all on single Terra. Here
Yep.
comes Beyond Chaos, about to take a goner.
So at this point, I would be just only attacking right now with Terra when Goner is charging.
I found Shell. I wasn't aware Shell could deal with goner.
Oh, the Revenger removed the life 3. That's what happened.
Right.
So he threw up that shell because now Terra's going to be taking that Goner full force to the face.
Yeah, that's not going to be good. He does have one elixir kicking around.
And he's going to use it. Now's the time.
Yep. This is, if this goes much more wrong, we could still... Revenger's not much to worry about there this time.
It is going to take off the shell, though.
Not ideal, and there's 2,000 damage right in the face. I think we're just going to see Boo throw... Oh, no, wait, he still has that Cure 3. And he now has a full thing of MP, so... This is, not going to be... Oh! Let's hope he has an Echo Screen, or a Remedy.
Or literally anything.
Or literally anything. There's another 2,000 damage.
Oh no, he doesn't.
No. Boo's just gonna have to swing. Swing and hope. I have not been paying attention to the math, but...
Neither have I.
We have seen both of our lead racers lose the lead.
Is that enough?
Is that a Krakow? No.
No. I don't think he's going to survive this Goner. If he
Boo.
does, it's going to be like at 100 HP at max.
Yeah, this is not good for Boo. Oh, no, that shell was gone. That's 3k. Let's see if he takes another crack at it. Nobody's won yet, so...
Yet no one's finished. You have to keep going.
Locke moving into Final Kefka. Jack taking it slowly but seemingly more carefully through onto Tier 2.
So our person who was behind, and we kept saying all they need is for one thing to go wrong.
So many things have gone wrong!
Again, this shows that you cannot sleep on Final Kefka. Final Kefka will absolutely can wreck you no matter how powerful your party are. All of our players here have, you know, very powerful characters. They have good equipment. You know, they're...
If I was Locke, I would be throwing so many runics. So many runics. Can runic Merton?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm not sure. He's got a Mega Elixir, something none of our other runners seem to have. Not sure where he picked that up, but Zelfer is telling us you can't runic Mertens. So yeah, I would just be throwing runics and Mertens.
Absolutely. And those GP Rains are going to, you know, top up that damage just a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
break
not...
that Thunder Shield maybe? Oh no, but the Mertens strats. Never mind.
Yeah. The end comes Beyond Chaos. If I've been counting at this point and know it's close, I would start taking off the shields after this round of Mertens and breaking them.
Yeah, I think that's about what he's going to do here. He's sitting on the Thunder Shield there. Looks like we're going to have Locke be our first place finisher if nothing goes massively wrong here.
Again, but if it's mistimed and you get a Goner into an Ultima counter, things can still go wrong here, but
and I believe that's a Krakow. We have our first place winner with an official time of 1:58.51.
I'll see if I can get him into to chat with us, but what a comeback.
Yeah. So comebacky.
And you know, Jack is now headed up to Tier 3. He lost his Go-Go on the way up to Tier 3. Not sure who's going to replace that. This is still a fight between Boo and Jack because, you know, they've both shown that it can go wrong.
Yeah. And it shows how much importance can be placed on just having basic items.
Hello.
Lock, welcome. GG, you got first place.
I can't believe it. I'm so happy.
Yeah, you walked into Kefka's Tower probably 10 minutes behind everyone else, but
Really?
yeah, Jack died on tier 3 and then reset on tier 2.
Oh no.
Boo took a wipe on final Kefka.
Oh no. So my Kefka actually made a big difference here.
Oh yeah, and your
Absolutely.
Merton strats got you through it so much more quickly and safely than everyone else.
Until phase 3 when Train hit.
Yeah.
Train's not fun.
So how do you feel about that?
The seed. The seed. Oh boy. I did the opposite of last time. I had all the characters last time. This time I had all the espers.
Yeah. The characters were all locked behind one long chain, so it doesn't surprise me that you had that.
Sure
Pretty
was.
much everyone did.
Truth be told, I apologize for nothing. This has been a phenomenal seed to watch, and
It was actually fun to play. Like honestly, it was a lot of fun.
yeah, and I'm actually going to ask that we turn our attention back to the stream because we're still duking it out for second place, and we don't know who's going to make it yet. So if you want to pull up the stream, just make sure to mute it and hang out with us and watch what happens and see who your opponent's going to be.
I'm down. Like I've been watching it since I finished, so.
Yeah.
And for context, Locke, Boo and Jack entered the first time fighting Kefka nearly at the same time.
Oh wow.
And you were just getting to the goddess statues, I think, at that point, slightly before that. So yeah, it shows what a bad tier of Kefka can do for someone who's just a little behind.
Yep.
I'm
so
happy.
Jack makes it through tier 3 now. He's going up to final Kefka. He made it through just in time. His Celis was actually on a countdown timer. They had about 10 seconds left.
Yeah.
And Celis comes through with that calmness block. So Jack might actually pull this out with a double wipe at Kefka.
We'll see if Kefka is a bit kinder to Jack than he was to Boo. Boo had all those life 3s, all the cure 3s, an elixir, lots of stuff to work with. Jack doesn't seem to have anything in his inventory at all.
He has thrown everything in the kitchen sink at this fight. And really, I think that's just showing how much we end up relying on shops in these seeds just for those basics. You know, just for the Phoenix Downs and the remedies, honestly, more than anything.
Yep, and those elixirs that you find constantly through a normal seed, because there's so many of them in vanilla in all the clocks, that when you shuffle everything around, it turns out that you still wind up with probably 10 elixirs by the end of most of these seeds. Jack, also that Mega Elixir. Do you know where you found that Mega Elixir, Locke?
Magi Master at Daryl's was one of them. I don't know if there's another one.
Boo won't have one of those then.
Yeah, and I totally understand Boo's taking it a little slow and carefully right now, still putting up those life 3s even here on tier 2. Jack's coming into final Kefka here with full HP. He's dealing out quite a bit of damage.
Actually throwing the sniper.
But that was our friend the entire seed.
Yeah, Jack's been hitting things with it the whole time, and now he's taken it off and just gone, here you go. Gotta throw this one last time.
Yep, Game Boy is keeping track of damage here in the chat for us. There's about 12,000 damage that needs to be done here. So Jack, if he's counting, that Cure 3 is actually very, very lucky because the next hit could do something like an Ultima counter.
Jack will be keeping the numbers in his head, but here comes a train.
Oh no.
That's not good. Looking for his inventory already for the remedy.
Oh no, into a Havoc Wing. That does get eaten by the Fenrir.
Fire 3 on Shadow. That's at least something. Is he gonna break the Thunder Shield?
I would, 100%.
Yeah. That's what I did.
Yeah, we saw that, and we were both saying, yeah, that. Oh wait, no, you can't. You can't when you're muted. If you break something, it doesn't work. I remember learning this at a very inopportune time.
I
He
would
just
just take it off and
equipped a
have Shadow
metal
break it.
knuckle on Terra. That's the only weapon she can equip right now.
He's thrown everything else. He took her sniper off and threw it.
Again, so he just took a goner. I don't think he has.
Dead Shadow.
Oh no.
He at least has the elixirs. He can heal up. He's going to be doing this damage really slowly though, and that's actually really scary
so
right now.
Dangerous. We'll see if he uses that Magicite and the Runics. Oh, here comes the Thunder Shield, as we would probably expect.
Oh no, that does work. Is that enough?
That's enough.
Oh my god. Oh.
That was such a clutch victory there. The last possible piece of equipment he had to take off and throw at the thing. Well done to Jack. He is our official second place finisher with a time of 2:05:23. What an upset. We've gone from Boo in first place to Jack in second. Well, we've gone from Jack in first to Boo in second to Locke in third, to Boo in first to Jack in second to Locke in third, to Locke in first to Jack in second to Boo in third. All within the last, 15 minutes.
This was the race to watch. You guys are going to put on a good show for us for the final two, but you'll be hard pressed to match this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this one back.
This needs to be clipped and just put in the clips to live in posterity forever.
I am sure the Randomania people will be able to highlight this and share that with us. Shout out to Game Boy.
What an ending. Jack will be joining us shortly. We're just waiting on him while we watch Boo finish out his race. Seems to be going a little bit better for him now on tier 3 than it was last time.
Absolutely. And here we have Jack. GG for the second place.
Oh god, that was a very stressful last half hour of my life.
Yeah, Jack, when you beat Poltergeist, you were 2 seconds ahead of Boo. And now Boo is in third place.
Where was Poltergeist again?
Just
Poltergeist.
right again.
Oh,
Poltergeist.
okay. So I wasn't the only one that was getting my ass handed into me by tier 3 then, I guess.
You died to tier 3 and then reset on tier 2. Boo got all the way to final Kefka and took a wipe. And Locke just breezed through with Merton.
Yeah.
Would you like to know something else you'll be annoyed about?
What?
You know that luck check where you just go talk to a person and he offers you 2 things?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There was an Illumina there.
Yeah, of course there was. That, would have made the final battle a lot less stressful.
Yeah. It was rough on everyone.
I survived apparently, despite, 2 final battle wipes and last locationing required Edgar. So
yeah, you and Locke both did that. Boo's the only one that found him early. And he had a substantial lead until Kefka's Tower when you caught up to him at about Poltergeist. And then you had a tiny lead, and then you had to reset twice, and Boo went on to final Kefka and just tried to get through it and couldn't.
Yeah, I was down to break the Thunder Shield and pray because I had 2 characters left that were blind and silenced, and a random metal knuckle hit for 800 every now and then wasn't going to outlast my 2 elixirs, so it was just like, oh god, thank god I didn't break that shield somewhere else.
Yeah, you threw everything you had at the boss.
Yeah, my inventory is barren. There is nothing left.
Including on some of your... You took the sniper off and threw it.
Yeah, I did. That's how desperate I was getting.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the thrown sniper did less than a sniper proc, but the proc isn't guaranteed, and at that point, I'm like, I know this is gonna come down to the wire, because if he casts Train, I'm fucked. I'm out of throwables. Oh, sorry, I should not have said that on stream. That's my mistake. I'm just kind of...
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, but congratulations on second place.
I'll take it.
You had first place for a minute, and then we were like, "Oh, Jack might be last now," and then,
Oh, God.
and then
Oh,
you got
God,
second
that
place.
tier 3 wipe, like, I was just like, I went from like super heart pounding to, okay, I'm definitely last place now. And then 15 minutes later, it's like, why is no one done? What the hell's going on?
This is definitely one of those ones to go back and watch the VOD and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
just see how absolutely neck and neck all three racers were for almost all of this seed.
I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, I need to keep this brief because I'm overdue for calling a Punch-Out tournament race, so I gotta hop over to that. Thanks for hosting. The race was nuts. I look forward to watching it. Let's go Bruins, etc. Bye.
Thank you, Jack.
So we are seeing Boo now on Final Kefka again. Hopefully it goes a little better for him this time. What he is, putting in the time and finishing out the race like a champ.
Absolutely. The real question is, does Boo look at the race channel while he's racing?
It's possible he doesn't. I know I certainly don't.
Some people do and some people don't. They don't want to be impacted by seeing other people finish. But I think either way, at this point, I would absolutely, make this my final run at Kefka if I were in Boo's spot, and if I beat it, great, and if I don't, I would probably call it at that point.
Yeah, if you've gotten to Final Kefka twice in a finals match and you've lost both times to Kefka, chances are good you're not going to be winning. And you've put the effort in. Everyone's seen you try, and it's just been generally nasty to Boo.
Ooh, double hyperdriver onto Celis.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Kefka really enjoys Life 3.
Nope, but during this Goner charging phase, I think he's going to be able to get off at least a little bit more damage. Might be enough. I haven't been counting for Boo. There's been just too much going on.
Yeah, and while we're watching this tense final minute of Boo's race, we'll just remind you all to go follow our runners. They've put on a great show for us today and throughout the rest of the race when they've done their live seeds for the asyncs. And if you want to come play the game, we'll be putting on another tournament sometime in the future. It's in the works, but we don't really have any details on that yet. And if you just want to play a casual run, you can do that too. It's a great rando, and we've got a Krakow from Boo.
There we go. All three of our racers have finished. Boo's going to join us for a little bit of chatting here. Welcome, Boo. GG. What a show.
GG's.
You may be on push to talk, or mute, or he's gone.
Gone
We're
completely.
we're gonna try that one more time, I imagine.
Hello, Boo.
Muh.
There we go.
All right. Sorry. When I plug my microphone in after I'm already in the channel, it doesn't work for some reason. Anyway,
Yeah, fair enough.
Somebody-
GG, man. What a show.
somebody tell me, did I get shafted on my Life 3s that first go around? I could swear I cast Life 3 on both
Yeah,
my...
you got Revenger cast on you, which
Oh.
but
didn't
it
even,
was a nasty thing for Kefka to pull on you.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even think about that. I was like, oh, I don't have any buffs on. Good. Free turn. Well, crap. I was relying on that Life 3 and just kind of waiting and casting, probably doing it completely wrong, but yeah, that sucked. That tier 3, the first tier 3 I did really killed me. And then
The whole Kefka phase for everybody is something you should go back and watch, because it was nobody knew who was going to win.
I I thought I was in decent shape, although like it took me like 6 hours to find my last two characters. But once I got to final phase 4, I was like, all right, I'm probably in good shape here. And then I was not expecting him to just completely obliterate me. So
That is one of the dangers of, Final Kefka. No matter how powerful you are, he can still take it all away from you.
yeah, I wasn't strong enough. My oh god, my dog's gonna knock my shit over, stuff over. Sorry. Yeah, my spells just weren't doing enough damage. I assume it's just from the normalize and distort, but I was level, I don't know, 40 something, and they were doing like 4,000 a piece, 3,000 a piece. It was pathetic. So ultimately, I guess that's what did me in. Plus some bad decision making, but it was close. Can't complain too much, except for that shaft of a revenger, I guess.
You were in the lead for quite a while because you're the only one that got Edgar before Setzer. And Setzer went nowhere. You had to do the whole Magitech facility to get Setzer, and then it got you nothing. So you were in the lead for a while, and then Kefka was just nasty to you.
Yeah, I was thinking there was probably a character there, but by the time I would have done it, I already had my Espers, and I was thinking that's a really long check just to hope there's a character at the end of it. So I just did everything else. So that paid off, I guess. But well.
I don't think there was an Esper before Setzer at Magic Tech Factory. I think it was just 2 items.
Oh yeah. Well, so I guess I just mean the first 2 checks.
Yeah.
Can't be a character, so.
Yeah, so exactly. Like you'd have to go all the way through basically everything to just get there, which at that time probably wasn't worth it.
Yeah. So I was hoping and praying that something else, I'd find a character somewhere else, and I did. That Kefka fight was pretty brutal. Actually, the first 2 tiers went by swimmingly, other than doing not much damage, and then tier 3, I think I got like 7 Meteos in a row or something, and it was just a disaster. So, well, GG's to Locke and Jack. Congratulations. Not so much
GG's.
Jack as Locke, but
GG's to you too as well, Boo. I mean, 3rd place out of a cohort of 40 something. It's not bad at all.
not bad. Wish I could have defended my title, but I'm pretty happy with 3rd. So,
Absolutely. All right,
well,
and
thanks for everybody for setting this up and commentating. I know it was short notice and things like that, so appreciate it. And big thanks to Atmatech and everybody watching at home.
yes, just to finish out these shout outs once again, thank you to the Restream team, to Jophis, and Franklin in the background doing our restreaming and our tracking. Thank you, Mr. Entity, for joining me on this epic commentary roller coaster of absolute I don't even know what just happened for the last half hour of my life. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Please join us in our Discord. Please come and play with us. We've got lots of resources for new people to come join and to learn this randomizer. And thank you to Atmatech for being a phenomenal developer.
Absolutely. Thanks all around. Looking forward to the absolute final, which might be Sunday. We're still not 100% on that.
Oh yeah, I guess we're gonna figure that out, huh?
Yep.
And do tune in on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern for our weekly community race.
That will likely be here on this channel. And I think now we are going to go off and raid a Let's Racing Time for an SMB 3R race, 5 runners. So go ahead and join them for that raid. Wish all the runners good luck, and thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.